Welcome all to yet another episode of Chain Reaction Live, the show that breaks open all of the marketing around you. I have two lovely gentlemen as repeat co hosts because the last one was so fun. And the two people you clear your calendar for, Shane and Matt, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure.
I think Shane, especially, because he's been hopping on. So is Matt, for that matter. I apparently got to know Matt is pre-booked for a couple of speaking engagements, and Shane just hopped off of a really exciting episode of Mice and Learns. Stay tuned for that, by the way. So, boys, how are we feeling today?
Good. Good. Are you,
Good.
Matt? I'm good.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Little under the weather, but these conversations always fire me up, so exactly what I need.
Yeah, we have one heck of a episode with us today. So, first off, we are obviously going to talk about a few really interesting stories, which honestly I feel like, because of the AI sphere that we live in, because bubble's a bad word, so we don't use that here. But we live in an AI sphere, and essentially, uh, sometimes we fail to recognize some of the stories around us, and we just end up not talking about it. And I'm so excited that we're talking about a few stories from New York. Also, just traditional marketing and like branding and some real love that's been shown around, especially with brand collaborations and not in terms of influencer brand collaborations, but brand collaborations, which is an interesting one. Did you guys see the? I know we're not covering that particular story, but did you guys see one of the PB&J companies partnered with the Masters Golf, something related to like there was a golf club company and a PB&J company, and they partnered together to run like more like PB&J branded merch for golf. I don't know what that story was, but it came up on my feed and I was like, wow.
That's
Yeah.
pretty wild. I
Do you guys
I
know
am a
the
fan.
reference for it?
I did not see that.
No?
No, I am a fan of golf. And I'm deathly allergic to PB and J. So I'm a little conflicted on that particular partnership. But
Isn't it like a what do you call it? Isn't it like a staple food for like for golfers? That's what I've heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a great that's a great collab. If it basically, I always say like these kind of collabs make a lot of sense when you could use it to signal to a new audience that you get them using
Yeah.
like if in other words like if that particular brand is essentially signaling to the golf subculture that like, hey, we know that you guys like us, like we're the
Hmm.
brand that truly gets the culture, then it's like that makes a ton of sense. Even if
Yeah,
even if I will steer
it was
clear of the product.
yeah, it's called Uncrustables. I've never heard of this
Ah,
company before, but
You neither.
yeah,
they're big in the States.
yeah, they are. Amazing.
What
Yeah.
is it?
So it's basically like they have all different kinds of merch that is Uncrustable branded, but
Hmm.
it's like traditional golfing gear. Apparently, and Matt can, correct us on our knowledge, but apparently PB&J is a quite a favorite snack of a lot of golfers, is what I've heard. I don't
You
know
are
if that's
talking about peanut butter and jelly. Is that
yeah,
is that right?
yeah, we
I've
are
Yeah.
never heard golfers have
correct.
PB&J, but maybe,
PB&J.
Not
maybe my
not
side of
not
the pond
this
we don't.
yeah, not this golfer.
You look very golfery today, I must say.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah? I
Yeah.
I must have sensed that we'd be diving into this story. I
I
yes.
have
Yeah.
a PB&J snack here as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, definitely.
For sure.
And then, of course, on the show, we also have Anna Jathia, who was one of the early pioneers of growth hacking, literally built like communities back in the early 2000s, uh, understanding growth hacking before really it was mainstream. So I'm really excited about that. I hosted him on my podcast, and yeah, some of the perspectives he has is like crazy. It's crazy good. And then finally, we are going to wrap the show up with yet another game. This time I'm throwing a real curveball at Matt and Shane, but it's going to be a game of Slick and Slop, which is basically brand charades. So I hope you guys are excited about that one because I've never
Charades
done
is my top
Okay.
Christmas game, so bring it on.
it. Awesome. Okay, lovely. Let's get into the first story of today. Let's get into water cooler. Breakdown of the segment, people. Just as a heads up, we cover stories, but we cover stories that we care about, and we want to talk about perspective. You're just not going to see covered on a lot of different places, and that's really the goal that we're going for. And of course, everybody's losing their mind about this because why won't they? Claude text watermarking. Shane, I want to get your thoughts on that. Even before I say, single this, uh, I know you're following the story and have a POV on it. Break
Mhm.
down why are people losing their shit about it? Like AI, let's say AI esque or AI isms in text is not a
Mhm.
new at all. But apparently, watermarking is something that we should lose our minds about. Why are
Mhm.
people losing their minds about it? Please enlighten me.
I think this speaks to the debate over to what extent is it okay, societally accepted, to use AI for your work, for your comments, for any of your interactions online. Um, Personally, I'm very for it. I think having watermarks or strong AI detection tools as a concept, I'm a big proponent. I think there's room for things that are AI, totally AI assisted, but I just want some transparency in knowing that what I'm consuming is AI written, human written, or a mix of both. Now, on this story in particular, I don't think we're there yet. At least I've seen some skills that some AI influencers, namely Sabrina Romanov, have come out with that undermines these watermarks. So they're get arounds. So I haven't tried it, so I don't know how effective they are at getting around this particular watermarking. But in general, I think if we have an internet that polices different types of output, or maybe police is a strong word, but at least highlights what is AI and what isn't, I'm all for it.
Matt, what about you? And obviously, excuse me, while you were building out Hivemind, this is also something that you kept in mind. Like the underlying model should not over override the kind of content that people get using our tools, and they get the real human knowledge that this particular SLM has been built upon. So, you know, talk to me about if somebody's worried about it, and obviously you have thought or sort of predated this, talked about it, and understood, okay, we don't really want AI in the outputs that we give to our users. How do you protect yourselves against it? Like, what are the tangible ways people can ensure that they use AI, but they don't get watermarked?
Yeah, it's a good question. And it's funny, by the way, before I jump in, I have a teenage brother who's in high school, and obviously with writing papers and things like that, AI has been a big conversation point, and they have the AI detectors in high schools and stuff. So it's kind of funny that like, I've been hearing about almost this exact debate um, being played out over the last couple of years amongst children, and so now the rest of the world gets to partake. I think at the end of the day, the watermark is honestly strongest when it comes to like raw copy paste output, right? But the truth of the matter is, from my understanding, is that it dissolves when a human actually works the text, right? Which is ultimately the way that we should be engaging with AI, particularly when it comes to, I mean, any from strategy to content, regardless, right? So it's really an outsourcing detector rather than like an AI assistance detector. And so if you use AI, and I always tell people like my philosophy on AI is that most people use it like a vending machine, whereas you should be using it like a sparring partner. And so if you're using it like the latter, right, you're arguing with it, challenging it, rewriting, editing, making the thing yours, right? You can still have AI assist you in that process, but making the thing yours, the fingerprint ultimately dissolves. Now, I know that's unrealistic, but the optimist in me hopes that this watermarking um, kind of reinforces that behavior in people, and kind of teaches them the best way to use AI, even if it's not necessarily the easiest way.
So basically, how would you sort of like sum it up? Because essentially, I think one of the reasons why they did this, obviously, the context to it is IP laws in the EU really
Mhm.
makes this sort of mandatory to do, and Anthropic is not the only one that's looking to do it or done it. But pretty much any and all models are looking to do a version of this because it's done by fiat. It's not really something that they want to do. I more think about on other lines where have we sort of how should I put this? Have we flown away so much in this river of AI generated slop and content where we've completely forgotten about the fact that, hey, this is probably going to have monikers of AI in it. And probably you do not want to just copy paste this content, but find a different way to do so so
Right.
that the content remains uniquely yours and you don't come off as somebody who copy pastes. I just feel like with are we becoming this lazy
Yeah,
that
100%.
we are losing our shit about the fact that hey, AI can be watermarked? Like no shit, Sherlock, right? Like
Yeah.
of course, even before it could be watermarked, there are versions of AI watermarking that already exist. This, not that statements. You know, cutting
Yeah.
off a sentence right in the middle, right? Like, I mean, anybody with half a brain who uses AI even semi regularly would read that
Yeah.
content and say, yeah, a human probably didn't write this content. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a
The
little like
text
I
itself has been watermarked because we
exactly.
all can identify what, like there's a thing I always call Ron Weasleyisms. I forget where this came from, but like, like in the first Harry Potter when they're like, not
Yeah,
me, not Hermione, like whenever you're reading something and they're like, not this, not that, it's this. You're like, oh, that's AI. So it's like if you've been in deep in this world for long enough, you should be practiced in taking those things, working with AI to work through an idea, to break something out, and to get it to like, 75% structurally, right? So the idea is well articulated, but like I said, the raw copy paste, you don't need a watermark most of the time to identify whether something is
exactly.
AI or not. And I think my hope, look, it's a complicated story. And what's interesting about it to me is that both sides of the argument are getting riled up. Like the AI haters are seeing this as just like further reinforcement that AI generated or even assisted output is just inherently bad and
Yep.
deceptive. And now the EU is, out there trying to expose these cheaters and chase them down and whatnot. But the AI maximalists are like, this is a bullshit witch hunt, right? And it's like people are using this. We have this. I use this tool. It's an essential tool to support my work, and this is disassociating AI assistance from authors. both sides are pissed. And so my hope as an optimist is that it just reinforces what a lot of us are already doing, which is just using this as a thinking partner, not as something you outsource your writing to, copy paste and call it a day, or a vending machine, as I refer to it.
Shane, I want to get your comment on this.
Yeah,
So
well, I
on
would.
Reddit, one poster categorized this as a conspiracy
Right.
against innocent Claude users, while another claimed the only reason you wouldn't want this is to lie to people. And as Business Insider reports that dozens of users on X have claimed to cancel their Claude subscriptions as a result. It's Armageddon, people. Be prepared. The end is nigh. And apparently, Anthropic is using Google's DeepMind's Synth ID to generate these watermarks. So, Shane,
Mhm.
is it Armageddon just yet? What are we? I want to understand it more from the perspective of a lot of people obviously have their workflows set up for social media, for content, for newsletters, for websites. I mean, there are a million applications of Claude in terms of content written output at this point.
Mhm.
So all of them are sitting down and looking at this and thinking, hey, like, should we switch a model? Do we need to change the workflows that we had set up because of this new thing that has come up? Because a lot of people seem to be losing their minds about it. Or do you feel like it's just yet another overblown exaggeration by people, as is the case most of the times?
I think it's an overblown exaggeration. I see, like, if you look at the numbers, you're saying dozens of people have threatened to cancel their Claude subscription. Anthropic won't give a fuck about that. Dozens of people jumping off makes no difference. Secondly, as you said before, this isn't isolated and just an Anthropic issue. This applies to all LLMs. It's legislation in the EU, which I think is a good thing. I think the EU has not been very good at creating its own LLMs and being part of that race, but it can play some role in trying to be the adult in the table in this fierce competition between East and West. For why people are losing their shit, I mean, they have been if you should be able to stand behind anything that you publish. Absolutely fine to use LLMs, but if you respect your readers and their time, then you need to be transparent, or at least know, or at least back up what you are saying or pushing in front of their eyes. So there's a basic question of respect there.
Yeah.
An issue that we were talking about earlier is like, okay, we people in this room, probably people watching, there's signals that we can all pick up that we're detecting AI writing, but we're in the minority, I would say. We're on our laptops too many hours a day. We're not everyone. And there's lots of people who aren't able to catch these things. And you're also seeing that these tactics of these lazy efforts where AI slop is used generates a following, generates a bigger platform for people who use these tactics. So they're not effectively punished enough for using this. So that's why I think adding a level of transparency where you have to say whether something's AI assisted or AI written or not is a good thing. And the last thing I'll say is that even plays into the hands of people who aren't native English speakers or people who have writing difficulties or things like that, because you can, that's understandable that you're using AI if you're not a native English speaker.
Yeah, the native English speaker angle makes sense. Also, I don't know if people are that into AI content, especially when it's tagged as AI content now. But excuse me. But well, I mean, it could be valuable, and it definitely is in a lot of ways. I do still feel like if you know Anthropic or Claude watermarking its content has gotten you extremely freaked out, you have a much larger problem than just the watermarking. So
Yeah,
you should
agreed.
know. And the next story really nicely transitions into something to dive deeper on, which is ChatGPT can now remember what you did on your Mac without screenshots. So apparently, it also captures activity on selected apps. Some people have said it goes so far as, and this is unverified claims to people, but apparently it can also look at keystrokes and look at what you're doing entirely on your device, at least on the bits and pieces that Claude has access to or Codex has access to. So essentially, the idea with it is you wouldn't have to recontextualize the work that you're doing. It is, you know, an always on assistant that can look up and understand context from a lot of different apps and platforms to basically figure out how to optimize its solution for you. And there are both sides to this argument at this moment. What I'm more afraid about, or what I'm more, let's say, curious about, is how do we feel about this? Like, I know, there are both sides of the argument where people are like, as long as it makes my life easy, I don't give a shit whether it's private or not. But the other side is, why are you tracking my keystrokes? Like, what what possible value are you providing me that I cannot have just by giving you a specific piece of context and getting a specific piece of answer? So really it gets into the convenience versus, privacy. But I want to get your guys' perspective on this. Like, do you feel comfortable with a chat GPT big brother on your laptop? And essentially it does make your life easier, but you're subservient to it in a large way. So Matt, what are your thoughts on this one?
Um, yeah, I think so I think this makes a lot of sense, honestly. It just kind of reinforces the idea that context is king now in this AI arms race because the models themselves are commoditizing, right? And so every lab is kind of in the spitting distance of each other. And so it makes sense that going hard after working memory for OpenAI, like if ChatGPT knows your projects and your habits, right, then the switching cost goes up because it remembers you and it understands your habits and it's got smarter context on you. Um, I think that two things. So one, um, this kind of reminds me a little bit of these obsidian vaults that a lot of people in my shit, including myself, have built and used and honestly get a lot of value from. So for those of you who don't know, basically it's like a folder of plain text notes on my computer, but every note is linked to the other note, and so over time, those links kind of become a map of how you think, like a personal Wikipedia page almost. And my Claude code is connected to my Obsidian Vault, and it can basically use that um, for memory that's persistent and to like kind of extrapolate trends in my thinking and find patterns and give kind of smarter strategic answers. This feels like a kind of more ambient memory version because for Obsidian Vault, which are taking off with a lot of the Claude Code community, you have to kind of a lot of times the way they're structured is you have to like basically approve what gets added to your vault. Whereas for this, there's something kind of nice about having it passively kind of pick up context for you. Um, what I've learned, and my second point on this is, I know I'm kind of taking a little while on this one, but like what I've learned is that there's a real communication challenge, and I think that OpenAI needs a much better communication strategy in terms of like much clearer value-driven messaging around why the user would benefit from giving you access to this stuff. Because right now, like you said, it's like the privacy side of the conversation is dominating, but it's very hard with these kind of persistent memory type of things and context-based like updates to to understand why you would do it until you're using it. And so I think they need to do a much better job of showing users like this is this is what you're getting out of giving up your privacy in terms of actual practical use.
Do you not have any qualms about the privacy side, Matt?
Oh no, I mean, look here personally. Of course, I do. I absolutely do, and I feel like I mean, yeah, I'd be worried about like I think prompt injecting is going to be a big problem with this stuff, right? Like because like just basically on any site that I go to, it becomes much easier for like prompt injection issues to like make their way into my system. 100%. I mean, personally, the convenience over privacy battle, convenience usually wins out for me. But I can see this being an issue across the board for sure.
Yeah, so like even for me personally, so there are a couple of things that ChatGPT is doing slightly differently. So when it comes to Claude Code or Claude Cowork, when it's trying to access a particular web page or so on and so forth, it's essentially taking screenshots of it, recording what's in the screenshot, and then taking particular actions based on that. Apparently with computer history, that will not be the case, and you essentially are giving it access to a very specific set of tools, and it's performing certain activities and giving you certain output based on that specific control that you've given. So essentially, to read out the new Stack article, essentially with computer history, users will get full control over which apps and websites computer history will have access to. On Mac OS, there will be a new menu bar entry that allows you to exclude any apps from this feature, as well as being a new setting in the ChatGPT desktop app that lets you exclude apps and website. It's off by default. All of this data is stored locally, and just trust me, bro, is what this feels like. So, Shane, I know you have your qualms about the privacy angle. So do I, for that matter. But I'm thinking about, a lot of people. Like I was with a friend, and I just walked him through what Cowork can do, and he was using it to essentially apply to a lot of different jobs. And he was just like straight up clicking allow, 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 or just putting in auto mode if he was using Cowork and letting it rip. I'm like, one bad page, like literally one bad page with a prompt injection, and you're, shit out of luck. So that convenience coming to bite, and there being essentially no way you can protect yourselves unless you were a developer or unless you were really, really looking into what exactly is Claude or GPT doing on a specific page, app, or website. There's no way to, like, even if you were conscious about it, there's no way to know whether you're going on the right page or not, or you're performing the right activity or not, unless you really dive deep into it. So yeah, I would love to know what your thoughts on this are.
Well, I think more generally on the question of convenience versus privacy, we've seen that the vast majority of people prefer convenience. That's why Google is more popular than Brave, is more popular than Tor, and so many other examples when you come to messaging and so on. But there still are companies that are privacy focused and that are doing well and that are growing, and so there is a market for that. With this particular one, I like that it's opt-in. I like that it's not on by default. That's great. But I have my question marks over OpenAI as a company. I mean, it was founded as OpenAI, and it was meant to be an open source project. It's a not-for-profit, and then it completely shifted. And things that it stood for at its creation have shifted to how do we make most amount of money for our shareholders. And that always leaves the users suffering in the end. So I don't have a lot of trust in OpenAI. I do use it. I think their image model in particular is great. And in this whole question of convenience versus privacy, I find it so challenging with AI because people who are using the AI models are getting so much more out of them, and I don't want to be left behind. So I have to make those trade-offs. And whereas years ago I would have been prioritizing privacy more, the balance has shifted because I don't want to lose out to other peers, competitors, so on, that are using AI better than me, let's say.
Yeah, a few years ago, we'd be terrified, like terrified and petrified
Goalposts keep shifting.
of this. Yeah.
Yeah, the AI era has like uniquely created this sense of FOMO and like urgency to keep up. And it's funny because it's like it's created that in us as consumers, like Shane just put, and it's created that in the companies themselves, being like, you know, all of them. A couple of years ago, OpenAI, like you said, OpenAI was a nonprofit, but it's like now the companies themselves are like, well, I don't want to be left behind, and like we need so we're all, you know, from a corporate level, from an individual level, like we're all just like operating in this urgent, frantic kind of mode that I'm sure we'll you know, but I'm sure we'll be fine.
Let's take a complete U-turn on the AI story and get into a fun one. So comedians fake tech ads make fun of slot voice in AI marketing with, you know, why I really love chain reactions, and I'm biased, of course, but it's because we are uniquely able to cover both perspectives. You will not hear the end of how amazing AI is from us, and you will never hear the end of how terrible it can be sometimes. So let's talk about this story where comedians basically built, what was it, 10 ads, 30 ads? How many ads was it?
Couple rounds.
A couple of
Yeah, a
ads,
couple
30
rounds.
minutes.
Yes. And what if Texas was upside down? Upside down Texas.ai. Ziplink is now Frogel, the cloud-based online safety you know and love, and now in the palm of your hand. All fake ads, by the way. This very much reads like a real like ad that you would see on some bus stop in SF. Like it reads so much like that, especially the name Ziplink and Frogel.
Do you know if they tracked visitors to those websites or
I don't know. Actually, that would be
It wouldn't
really
shock me.
cool.
The
Yeah.
creators come from the tech world, so it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. But you know why I really loved this particular story is essentially the fact that while we are obsessing about, you know, not being left behind, having FOMO with every single AI tool that comes out, every single update that comes out, the antithesis to that is even more powerful than ever before, where the idea is that if you can build a counterculture outside of the AI bubble and it's able to deliver results, which is a really good question. Like I would love to do, maybe stay tuned to the Myson Twitter account. Maybe we do a deep dive on like what the numbers look like for each one of these websites. Your calendar is married to your email. Your email didn't want to get married. Your email's father gave your calendar's father 5 goats, and one of the goats couldn't produce milk. We have your back. Like you know, honestly, I can believe the people took this seriously. Like when they saw this, they were like, "Booyah,
dude! It's the
is
best.
real."
It's the best copy of 2026, like without
I
any
agree.
question.
I
Like this
agree.
should. I don't know if like if anyone else wins the Clio or what Cam Line or whatever for copy, they're wrong. This should win.
Yeah,
It's
100%.
so perfect.
Matt, give me your thoughts on give me your thoughts on counterculture. Because whenever we see, you know, tech taking up a lot of mind space, with the narrative that they're trying to run, whether it was social media back in the day, whether it's been AI, whether it's been .com. I mean, there have been a million of these, right? And there was always a
Yeah.
counterculture that built around it. So talk to me a little bit about that, and also like your thoughts on if a brand wants to leverage this today, right? Where everybody wants to seem AI forward, but what if you didn't seem AI forward and use that as a marketing tactic to get more visibility? Are
Yeah.
we at that stage where that starts to work?
I think that from a brand standpoint, like the lesson here is the same as it's always been, which is just like authenticity and honesty in your messaging is always going to resonate, right? Like the worst advertising is advertising, and the worst marketing and advertising is the ones that insult the intelligence of the consumer, right? That make you feel like they think I'm stupid. And the best ones is the ones that recognize and respect the intelligence of the consumer, right? And so that's why when people talk about like transparency or being funny or viral, it's like usually it comes down to that if you're going to boil it down like to its essence. And so I think that's the lesson here is like whenever there is, especially when it comes to tech, right? Because the thing is, yeah, like it's making fun of the kind of flurry of AI companies that are coming out today. But like really, I feel like what it's making fun of at scale is this Silicon Valley culture of conformity when it comes to marketing messaging, right? Like AI is just the newest costume of that. But like if you think back a couple of years ago, like when they had that just flood of CPG products, all with the like red antler, kind of like Casper and Allbirds and like the same kind of serif font and like pastel brick coloring and like lowercase logo, right? And it was like a toothbrush or a mattress, but they were all interchangeable. Like that was the same slot voice existed before AI. And I think what I like about this a lot, other than the fact that it's hilarious, is that it really shows that like most outsiders see AI as like this just homogenous culture, and like everyone in AI kind of wants to be like a mini Peter Thiel, but like there really is this kind of distinction between the corporate AI companies and then this vibe coder culture, which is a lot more like punk rock counterculture in general. And so I always love to see the kind of subtle, clever, like screw you to the kind of the cliches and the jargon and the buzzword salads that like the big companies kind of and the Silicon Valley's kind of like embrace, because it shows that there's a culture that gets it, that's more approachable to like normal humans that think that stuff is like kind of cringeworthy. And like I don't know, I think I love this, honestly, and I think we need more to amplify more things like this that are kind of more counterculture punk rock.
No, 100%. Shane, what's on your?
I don't have much to add to what Matt says. I feel that tech and Silicon Valley especially is ripe for parody, and I think people appreciate that, and they are pointing out, the ubiquitousness of apps that are short words with a jazzy, cool sounding phrase, but like don't mean anything. And you do notice that you have seen these types of ads a million times, and it's great that they're calling this out. And I wonder if there'll be a shift in advertising after this.
Well, we can always hope so, that we are able to see a glimpse of
I think
a better.
The spoons fork one. That is the best. I don't know if that's on that.
Shane wants to skip a story, and essentially get into. Is this the synthetic hair one?
No, of this same story. There was a spoon and a fork, and it's cutlery.ai. What if spoons were forks?
Oh, really? I didn't see that one.
Maybe it's in the longer video.
Actually, I actually seed invested in Color AI. as well as upside down, Texas.
Yeah, Matt's getting a trillion. My bad. We don't talk in billions anymore. Matt's
Oh
getting
no.
$1 trillion exit out of that investment. Although the name, like, what I really find extremely crazy about this, the naming that they picked for these startups is so damn accurate that you would actually see this in SF. So,
Mhm.
like, yeah, it's crazy. Okay. Anyway, one more brand story that I did want to touch upon is basically Good Wipes and Liquid Death did a brand collaboration. Now, why I find this story extremely interesting is basically two reasons. So, whenever traditionally we thought about brand collaborations, it was always about what creator you could partner with, what influencer you could partner with, what celebrity you could partner with, and maybe sometimes you would see like the celebrities brand and another brand collaborating on like a one-off shoot campaign or like a limited edition, so on and so forth. However, something this crazy, and by the way, Liquid Death and Good Wipes is not the only collaboration that's happened in recent times. We're going to talk about a couple of them, but I need to speed run this because I need to call on a nudge on the stage here. But I want to understand with, again, we're talking about the counterculture thing, but more importantly, we're thinking about how a brand in a specific niche thinks about collaborations and partnerships, where now it has so become the case where, hey, you should be thinking about who gets attracted to your brand, like not in terms of just the ICP, like this is how old they are, this is where they live, this is how much money they make, but literally, like, what is their level of craziness? Are they Liquid Death crazy? Are they somebody who would totally buy into the Liquid Death brand? And Good Wipes is like a perfect ancillary to that. And then you do a collaboration. So for other brands, especially smaller niche brands, they're thinking more about this because we have entered the era of extremely community centric branding where you're really trying to appeal to that choir. Do you feel like we will see even more brands doing this? And if yes, what's a crazy like offshoot collaboration you can think of from your favorite brand and who could they partner with? I'm putting Matt and Shane on the spot as well over here.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt, Shane, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, in terms of this particular partnership, I think it's very clever. You should watch the video; it's fantastic. And I think Liquid Death, in many ways, are the kind of gold standard of taking a very arbitrary, boring, bland product and creating a community around it and playing with humor and being this kind of this heavy metal kind of themed idea to it. So I think the company or Good Wipes did a great job in partnering with them. I do also think that there aren't that many. You said we're in the age of like brands having communities. I don't think there's that many brands that have as strong community as a brand like Liquid Death. So I'm struggling a little bit to think of two partnerships. I would think Patagonia, again, because it came up last time we were on, would be a group of people who have, who think alike. And I don't know what would be a good partnership, but maybe if we pass it on to Matt and you come back to me, I will find the answer.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I'm gonna go with Casper and Trojan.
Ooh,
But
that would be
we'll
oh, that's a good one. That's a really
right.
good one.
or Lovesack and Trojan. Actually, Lovesack does a lot of collaborations, and Some of them a little bit more edgy, like they did a great collab with my buddy Kid Super recently. I think there's something in that because also it's just like, how do you add some edge to a product? It's not. I mean, that's like an easy way to do it. Man, you're putting me on the spot. That's a tough one. I do love. I think I do love this campaign too. By the way, I think that Liquid Death is like it amazing. You kind of touch on this, but Liquid Death always amazed me because they felt like what would happen if you just took like the best creative talent from the marketing world and put them in an agency with like the best culture, and then gave them a client that just like never watered down their best ideas with like millions of revisions, and like that's Liquid Death. And like for them to find a partner like you guys were, implying that like also was willing to get one brand to agree to a campaign like that is crazy enough. To get two brands to sign off on that is just like hats off to the account team and as much as the creative team there. But I think that look, at the end of the day, it doesn't always have to be like who's the I love, as we've established through multiple segments at this point, I love the counterculture, like rebellious kind of like challenger brand type stuff. But like I think boiling it down, like Liquid Death is the perfect encapsulation of my philosophy that ultimately the best way to quantify a great brand is the ratio of earned media to paid media, right? Like if you're generating more attention and conversation around you than you are paying, and kind of what that ratio looks like, that's ultimately what a great brand is in today's day and age. And that's really what it comes down to, is like they're doing this and they're doing this like leading up to the holidays, and like people are going to be talking about it, and it's like that's ultimately going to result in better shelf space for them. And I just think there's a brilliance and a sophistication behind what it looks initially like this kind of like juvenile humor and stuff like that.
And it's also like what I find extremely interesting here is these are not small brands that don't have like risk profiles, or like something goes wrong and then you're answerable to 100 people, 1,000 people, so on and so forth. So it's like it's understood that if it doesn't land the right way, that they are going to have problems with their community, with their investors, with their consumers, so on and so forth, right? And seeing more and more brands trying to be a little bit more daring. We talked about the PB&J golf partnership. We're talking about the Good Wipes and Liquid Death partnership. So it seems to be a pattern, at least for the smartest brands out there, that have understood that really finding out creative ways to get ahead is the only way your brand gets remembered. And if you were doing safe and you were doing the same types of conversations, then it's just not going to work. So anyway.
Do we have time for more chat on this, or are we moving to the next segment?
I really have to get Anuj if he is around. Anuj, give us a wave if you're around here. Yes, you are. Okay, people. I want to call Anuj on stage here, and let's get into it with him. Anuj, thank you for being on the show today. Nice to be hosting you again.
Yeah,
always
it's great to see you again.
I think your camera is lagging a tiny bit.
Lagging?
Yeah.
But your background is beautiful.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. Courtesy restream. So shout out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that a real background?
No, not at all.
Okay, needs that Claude watermark on it.
Yeah, a little bit.
Anuj, maybe try to fix your internet a little bit, because I feel like you're lagging quite a bit. Is it just for me, guys?
No, it's for me as well.
Hang on. Let me try turning my my camera off and bringing it back. See, does that? Am I more real time now?
A little bit
No.
better. Maybe jump off and jump back on. I think that'll
Yeah.
just be.
Let me come back.
No worries. Gonna play some tunes. Relax. We apologize for the delay.
Arnav, did you have any collabs in mind for the last time?
Ooh. I would really love to see. I'm thinking. Like, I would love to see, and I don't know if anybody's done this before or not, like, but a really simple one would be if a sneaker brand did a collaboration or did some campaign where they featured really old people, like at nursing homes or something like that.
Mhm.
And then they were adding flair to, their daily life. Because sneakers always seen as something like innately, for the younger generation. And I feel like a lot of, older people don't wear them or don't adopt them because it's a culture thing. But if you really look at it, they feel extremely comfortable in it. Like, my dad loves his New Balances and Nikes. So I'm like, yeah, like, that is sneaker culture at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, but how do you keep it cool for across generations? One generation adopts it.
Yeah. True. Okay, I think Anuj is back. Anuj, let's see here.
All right. Is that better? No, I don't know.
A little
Okay.
bit. A little bit better. Yeah. I think we can work with it.
Yeah.
No worries.
You don't need to see my ugly mug for most of this anyway.
So, just to give a brief on Anuj. So, Anuj is one of the early members at Growth Hackers that's been doing growth hacking and growth marketing for over 2 decades at this point. A veteran when it comes to growth for startups. Is a startup growth mentor at Techstars. He's an author. I mean, this man has a resume. If I sat here, I would just need to spend the whole time talking about the amazing things Anuj has done. So, Anuj, I believe you have something for us to see, a tool that you've been working on, and a really exciting use case given all of the stories that we discussed today. So I'm excited to dive into it.
Yeah, for sure. Right, and I guess I guess it's not a tool yet. It will be soon, but I can at least show you what the tool will produce.
100%. We love early betas. We love the alphas. We love getting
you will literally be the first people outside of me to see this.
Oh, awesome!
It's that new. So what it is so let me tell you the problem first. I guess is that now everybody's creating skills. Like I've created my own skills, and the problem with them is multifold in that you don't really know how good they are. Like, even as somebody has made your own, you made your own thing, like objectively, right? How good is it? And we can define good in many ways, right? But the reason we have this question is because a lot of these skills, we think they encode our expertise, right, on a certain topic, when I think in reality they encode a lot of our assumptions and biases. Right, and then that's really hard to see through, and certainly hard to see through objectively when you're the one that made it, right? Because of course it looks right to you, right? And you can almost think of skills are the new templates, right? And so if somebody's going to use your template, when you had an Excel template, it's fine. You put in a few numbers, you got a few graphs, that's fine. But now when you're trying to use these skills, like, these are things that might touch production, right? They might touch customer data. They might touch ad spend. They might write things to your CRM, and I mean that is pretty scary. I think that makes it more than a template, right? So that was sort of the question I came to. Was like, okay, I see a lot of people putting out some awesome skills. You see all these GitHub repos with 10,000 stars, and some influencer with 1 billion followers says, look at this crazy skill I made. And you're like, yeah, okay, but how good is it really? Right. And, related questions that go along with it, like, forget how good is it? Like, is it safe to use? Right. Because while I was, in the background, I heard you all talking about like prompt injections, right? How do you know that won't happen? Right. Even like, does it do what it says? Is it internally consistent? Like, there's just basic questions you would want answered that I don't think there are any answers to. You find a lot of these skill marketplaces, right? And I'm sure you've seen a lot of these, and some of them have these safety scores, and I'm like, how do you even come up with this? Right? So there's no transparency into anything. Right? Basic questions aren't answerable. So I'm like, in what reasonable universe would I install a skill that somebody else came up with? And again, secondarily, for my own selfish purpose, like, how do I know even what I've come up with is any good? So that's where I started, on this. And it was kind of shocking to me that this thing didn't exist already. Right? Because I was basically putting GitHub repos into Claude code and saying, okay, like, how can I use this thing? I was like struggling individually with these things, right? And ultimately it struck me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to hit this with pretty much every skill I ever try to use. And so that's where the idea of this AI skill grader came about for myself. And amazingly enough, aiskillgrader.com was available. So I bought that as soon as I saw that. So that's where it will live. The tool will be really simple, right? Like, just throw in a URL, right, to a skill.md or your GitHub repo, and you'll get an output. So that's really what the tool will be. But it'll do a bunch of sort of scanning and inferring from the background.
Would it also work on like if I have a workflow set up, or like I have a tool set up, or maybe an app set up? This could be on Claude. This could also be in Replit. Could I just give it the link of that and it grades my workflow or my tool based on how it's been built?
So potentially, right? Because clearly a lot of skills they kick off other workflows, they work with other tools. So my goal is to be holistic with all of those to the extent that I can, without installing it, because even if I was to install the skill, like, the way I might use it and the way you might use it would be completely different. So this is a pure pre-install judgment on a particular skill, whether it's a text-only skill or whether it's associated with other tools, workflows, whatever it may be.
Makes sense. And then, like, who do you think would benefit the most out of this? Is it just the skill builders, or is it the people that are using these skills? And also, like, I think the more important question would be, out of the reports that you've done and the the early tooling that you've done, what types of skills do you feel like, obviously you've built an AI grader and somebody else might look at you and build one of their own.
Sure.
In terms of AI grading skills, which ones are the best ones to do? Like, what category would be a great fit for the grader to grade, let's say?
So I'm trying to be as agnostic as possible. But to start with, it's the kind of skills I'm more familiar with. So a lot of go-to-market skills are the ones I'm using as my own, like, manual evaluation versus a grader evaluation. So I'm starting there, but the goal is, like, you could put any skill in it, and it should give you an extent that it can. Of does it do what it says it does? Like, is it safe? Like, basic things like.
Makes sense.
And what are those things that you look at, if you can go into it?
Yeah, so I think maybe it'll make more sense for me to just show you some example reports.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Okay,
Let's do
and
that.
so what I'll show you, and again, look at these as complete like V0.2 reports, the way they are currently, right? Even though they might look nicely designed, and I'll show you 3 examples that I thought would be good for you to see. And I've currently like manually evaluated maybe close to 300 skills, right? And at least in that universe, I've
Just frozen on my side.
Yeah, no, I think we lost Onaj for a bit. No,
But I'd love to know what skills.
yeah. So let me show you. Hang on. Let me get what could be the worst example I found. Right. And
Anuj, also, after you share your screen, probably close your camera because your internet is a little bit shaky.
yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on there.
So
Yeah,
that's
so
gonna
I'll
help.
just I'll let me do that first. All right, and let me. All right. So let me know when you can see this.
Drum roll.
So, I don't know. It's giving me a can't screen message.
Nice.
Okay, let me see if I can give you access to it. Yeah.
I mean, it kind of says it's
Yeah, you have it.
sharing. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
not showing.
There you go.
up.
There you go.
Right. Can you see my screen?
100%.
Okay, great. So this is right, and so right. So this is one I found a whole bunch of internal calculations that are actually wrong. Right, and if you were to not inspect it for those, it would completely send you down the wrong path. Right, and so example
walk us through like what was the skill? What did the skill achieve? Like what was it set up for? What was it connected to? And then like what was the grade that your tool gave it? Like I'm just trying to contextualize
so
this
one thing I want to call
for people who might have their own skill to maybe optimize it a little bit so that the grader can give them better results. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think one thing I want to point out is like, there is no score or no number. It doesn't make sense. Context. All right. What it is like, should you use it or should you not use it? What should you think about before it? Right. So think of it from that perspective.
Gotcha.
And so this paid ad skill was, again, this was like its own grader, like a performance marketing skill, right? That would score your own paid campaigns to tell you which ones to scale and which ones to pause. Right? And it did that through doing some ROAS calculation. Right?
Gotcha.
I don't need to install necessarily into Claude or ChatGPT or Codex or anything like that, because what I have are a set of deterministic questions that it just looks to skill on. Pretty much no LLM needed for this, for 90% of this exercise, when it's looking at objectively what is it saying and what is it saying that its output will look like. If that makes sense.
Shane,
right?
you got any I know did we have something similar? Why do I remember we covered something like this at Mice and Learns?
No.
No.
Nope.
No? Oh, okay.
This is like literally
brand new. Claude
So,
just made a discovery. Awesome. Lovely.
yeah, you're right.
And so,
So
like, if you were to give like a, I don't know, I know you've run like a bunch of tests. Do you have like numbers
yeah,
on like how many of them were like absolutely dog shit and how many of them were really useful? I'm curious to know
too early
if
to
you have
tell.
numbers.
Too early to tell because I've looked at about 300 skills, and there are how many million skills on the planet, right? But I can. The one thing that does stand out, at least from all of them, were safe to use. Right? It was just what level them is what I think is the biggest thing that is coming up.
This might be too
Right.
early to tell.
So there are right.
I'm
But I think
wondering if
an example. One was wrong, and if you install this skill,
Anuj, can I ask, is
which
there any way
more.
is there any way of
We're losing you a little bit. Shane had a.
I can
Shane
hear you
has-
just fine though.
Yeah,
great?
Shane, go
So,
ahead.
My question is there any way of determining, like by proxy, how strong a skill is? For instance, the amount of stars on GitHub or the reputation of the developer who created it.
Great
or
question.
Guidelines to that extent.
So I'm a really cynical person,
Mhm.
and I don't trust popularity at all because popularity can be gamed. I want to objectively look at the skill because people will grade or give stars for all sorts of reasons. Like, how do I know
True.
anything? Right. So I would just rather objectively look at the skill and make my determination myself.
And when you say objectively, so I understand the binary, like it doesn't output what it says it's going to, or it might be malicious versus it's not. But
Yeah.
otherwise, the sort of parameters are going to be inherently subjective if you're the one creating it, just like you can't be fully objective when it comes to creating.
Yeah. So I've tried to remove myself from the equation as much as possible. And so that is why this thing is actually broken down in terms of the questions that it sets out to answer. Right. And all of that is determined exactly from the skill. Right. So things like, what does it actually do? Right? How is it framing itself? Right? What problem is it saying it's going to solve? Right? Does it do what it claims? Right? Is it maintained? Is it understandable? Right? Or is there just hodgepodge in the docs itself? Right? Is it okay to try it safely, or should I exercise some caution? Right? What could go wrong if I use it badly? Right? Should I test it with some dummy data? Like, what setup do I need to try it out? Right? How much should I trust it? Right? And like, hey, based on what I found, maybe you don't want to trust this thing as is. Right? Is it malicious? Right? So these
that's
are pretty objective questions, right? And using that to then give you okay, if despite all of this you want to use this, here are some things you might want to consider first. Right. So
this kind of answer, I love how it just correlates to the GPT story that we were covering. Like if we had something like this and we were setting up a workflow and we had the grading and we knew exactly where the bottlenecks were, we could. But I think that would be a question for you, Anuj, is if, let's say we figure out using the grader that these are potential risks of using this particular skill or tool or whatever. And if we were to give that to the agent that utilizing that skill, would that offset the risks that the grader flags, or do you feel like no, there is probably something more inherent that would need to be changed in the skill itself for the agent to utilize it without the risks popping up?
Yeah, I don't think any agent inherently is going to identify all of the things it needs to consider before using that skill. Like even like Anthropic, right? They've got their own kind of agent grader for enterprise plans and beta right now. Right, but they're checking for like, okay, is it malicious, right? Does it have the right lines of code, right? But it's a very generic run. It's not going to look at it from the perspective of, hey, the reason you're installing a go-to-market skill is because you're a RevOps person, you're a salesperson, whatever, and these are the kinds of things you might want to think about from the perspective of this specific skill and what its impact to you will be.
Interesting.
Have you considered maybe in the future expanding it from just the auditing tool into also a directory of vetted and audited skills? Because you kind of, when you started this conversation, you brought up GitHub and how like people are going on GitHub to find and discover these skills, but like who knows how safe they are and all these things. So like if you're kind of covering, you built something that directly addresses that issue. But maybe I don't have a skill initially. Maybe I need to find certain skills that are curated. Is that something that you've thought about or that you see as potentially down the roadmap?
Yeah, totally. Right. I think that's almost like a natural next step, right? Because if people come and grade their skills, right, I think naturally they tend to surface whatever the grade is, right? So I think that could automatically feed a quote-unquote marketplace of skills. It could even potentially feed like education around how do you build better skills.
Yeah, because it seems like to me like what you would want to do with this, if I'm understanding correctly, is become the kind of trusted, like this is the trusted kind of seal of approval,
right?
Almost like right. Yeah, interesting.
No, absolutely right, and and in many ways, right, you can almost imagine like So the reason I even called it a grader was because a lot of people are familiar with like HubSpot's website grader, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
that was a pretty cool tool that they used for their growth, because I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do with something similar for what's current, right? So there's all sorts of possibilities, if this grader does what it claims to do.
I can really see the utility. I've used, like, when I take skills, I'll check it for whether it's malicious or not. But that's only one element.
Right.
And this is far more comprehensive. And these are, points that I wasn't really even considering. And now it's great that there's a tool that can do all of this. So hats off.
Yeah.
And I think
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Just particularly for people who aren't that technically savvy, who are just dipping their toe into GitHub and are adopting AI like we all are, and don't know the risks and hear of some issues. They want a platform to go to where they can, have their skills, in this case, validated.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, and plus, other than relying on people who are super influential, right? Which again is fine, right? But even I think they're so easy to install, right? There's one-click installs for everything, right? And you don't know what you've just let into your system.
Yeah.
When it's that easy.
Yeah, when going back to the directory thing too, it's like it turns skill discovery into a meritocracy rather than a popularity, which is a kind of interesting angle, I think.
We have it for models, right? Like we have benchmarks that we can judge a particular model on. Why not with skills? Why not with? I'm even thinking like tools, apps, stuff that people build. If they can put it into the grader, they can figure out whether or not this has long-term feasibility and usability. Because ultimately, I think the discussion has gone from only experts can build skills and only experts know how to structure things properly, to it becoming way more commoditized and way more people being able to do that, where something
Right.
like this becomes even more important, where you might see a developer building a better GTM skill than a GTM person themselves, just because
Sure.
of the way they've structured things and so on and so forth. And this just surfaces that, rather than relying on the logical explanation of only a marketer can build a great marketing skill. Interesting.
Right. And I want to run with your example of, there's a famous person or a vetted organization, right, that generates these skills. Like, should you not trust them? Right. And so I actually ran this grader on skills that Anthropic themselves have released. Right. Because I'm like, right. And so this is just a quick example of that.
And how did
They've got a skill.
Yeah. How did that go?
Yeah. So here's one, if you can see this. So this is a compliance check skill that they created. Right. So it reviews like a proposed feature or action for regulatory risk, right? And for which laws apply and what approvals you need and where red flags are. Right. And for the most part, it's great. Right. But the thing to consider is that if you just take what this skill gives you blindly, right, understand that this is a very high stakes decision you're going to make just based on this skill, right, and its output, because there are literally regulations and laws involved here, right? And so you can see, right? So if you just come down to the basic question of, okay, how much should I trust this thing, right? Right. So that, okay, it's going to give you an output, but that doesn't mean that output is any sort of legal advice, right? So it's not a thing to just take and put out, right? You still need to go through some sort of legal review with this, right?
Yeah.
So it was fine, right? But there's a whole bunch of things you need to understand before you rely on it, right? So this is an example of just a text-based skill. There's no workflow, there's nothing, right? So what you want to use it is just for triage and for prep, but you should not use this as a final output, right? You still need a legal pro to go look at it, right? You still shouldn't feed customer data into this, right? You should still sanity check regulations against current law, right? So even though you've got something that looks like a really awesome skill from Anthropic, still doesn't mean you can or should use it as is. You still need to verify this before putting it, into production.
Anuj, curious question: does it ever happen where you might run like a end-to-end check twice and you got two different results from the grader?
So that used to happen when I first started doing this, because I was relying on certain models to help with grading. But ever since I started to abstract out the questions more deterministically, right, that problem has mostly gone away. It's not completely gone away, because as you see, right, in the evidence section, right, just, okay, what were verified as facts deterministically from the skill, right? And there's a little bit of inference, and that's the only thing the LLM does. And sometimes, depending on what the model is, that inference can change. Still something I haven't solved for, but this is something that maybe applies, I want to say, 20% of the time right now, right? For the most part,
That's not bad at all.
80% of it is purely deterministic. And I also provide, okay, here's all the things I checked, but here's all the things the grader did not check for this skill, right? So if that is important to you, you should go check that.
So almost like a feedback loop of it then knows what to take, what not to take. Interesting. And how do you do like reinforcement of that learning feedback that you give it? How do you run that?
what do you mean about? So tell me more. What do you mean about
So
reinforcement? In what
basically,
context?
like it gives you a report and you have feedback on it, and then you give it feedback. Like, okay, this thing seems off, or that thing is a little bit too extreme, or you interpreted this particular thing in the wrong way. When you give it feedback like this, like how is it stored? How is it utilized for future reports? Is there like
Yeah.
a process like that?
So not right now, but I can imagine a V1 of this process being, let's say the builder of this skill went and graded it and saw all these things, and they found a few things they might want to tweak. They can rerun the grader on the updated skill, and it would update the report then.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right?
Because
But
I always like think about, especially from like a skill or workflow or tool perspective, that having some kind of reinforcement loop where you can give it feedback and the tool or workflow or skill, whatever, the agent can take it and then improve the next output cycle that it gives you for the kind
yeah.
of data that you're giving it. That's always like a best practice, but I seldom see people really doing it the right way. So I was
Oh,
curious if you had a process for that. Interesting.
for sure. So also, my problem is I don't update any of these repos skills, right? So
Yeah, true. But a good benchmark nevertheless. Guys,
yeah.
before we let Anuj go, any final questions? Or Anuj, if you have anything final to show us.
Uh,
I just
no,
want to know when
that's
it's
pretty
released.
much it. Like I said, this is 2 weeks old.
Hmm.
Yeah. Hopefully in a couple of weeks, because getting the grading right is one thing, and it's important thing, right? And not to say that the way it grades won't evolve and improve as more skills come through, uh, right? Or edge cases show up, but I think there's even a whole aspect of the product UX itself when somebody's on it that has to be thought through a little bit, um, right? Which for me takes really long because I can't, like, a lot of my life is all about what is a great first experience, right? So I'll probably spend a disproportionate amount of time thinking that through. But I would expect that I'd have at least V1 of this grader functionality to be set sometime in the next 7 to 10 days, and then in parallel. So hopefully, so let's say by the end of the month, maybe, I should have it
I
out.
wish more people in AI spent a disproportional amount of time on that initial user experience. What did you use? Last question on my end, just as a vibe coding nerd. What did you use to build it?
So I don't trust any one LLM, to be honest, because they all have their own biases and ways of thinking. So most of my building of any of the things I've ever built have been always been I look at them as a wonderful collaboration between Codex and Claude Code. And I don't know how to code myself, by the way. So this is just a guy saying, "Hey, I want this, and let's go make it happen." And I think I know what the end result should look like.
That's really cool.
But
sure.
yeah, I've never trusted just one tool ever.
Awesome.
Fair enough.
Lovely. Anuj, thank you so much for doing this. It's always a absolute pleasure to talk to you, and we are very excited about that AI grader to come out so we can get our hands on it.
Yeah. Same. Absolutely. So it was fun
100%.
showing it to you.
Thank you for being on the show, Anuj. See you soon.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Who knew we needed an AI skill grader? That was.
I mean, we absolutely do, and it's an obvious thing in hindsight, but I hadn't thought of it.
Yeah.
Try explaining that concept to someone 5 years ago.
That is so true. Oh my god. Okay, guys, I know we're almost at the edge. Now, I have a curious question. So we can either get into playing charades. So that's option number one, or option number two is we have 2 more news stories to cover that I know both of you are excited to get into. Or we could do that. What do you want to do? Pick your adventure. I'm changing the flow a little bit today for you guys.
I'm ready. I'm ready for charades.
Yeah.
Charades?
My-
Okay.
yeah, I think I'm out of
Mhm.
insightful shit to say at this point of the show.
Okay. Awesome. It's time to get into slick or slop. Rules of the game, very simple, as is the case always. This is a new game, by the way. I thought, hey, since the beginning of this show, we've been doing a lot of guessing games, right? And we're still doing a guessing game, but instead of using our brains, this time we'll be using our actions. And Shane and Matt are going to be my 2 contenders for today, playing Slick or Slop. I will essentially be giving each one of you a brand, a personality, or basically a brand or a personality that you have to enact, and your partner has to guess what that is. Under 2 minutes is your time. We're going to do 5 rounds, and whoever gets the most guesses is either slick, and whoever doesn't is slop. Are you ready, guys, for this one?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Awesome. So get your slacks ready, because this is the only way we could do this. Who would like to go first? Shane, you want to give it a try? Want to get it out?
DMs or you? Yeah, I guess or DMs.
Sorry, what?
You're gonna DM us. Fine. For the clues. For who are acting out, yeah?
Yeah. Do you want to act out first, or do you want to guess first?
I'll act out.
You would like to?
I'll act.
You'll act? Okay. Awesome. Lovely. Let's see. Okay. Shane, No, I will give a guess. Like, I won't leave Matt completely hanging. It is a personality. Shane, get your act on. You've got 2 minutes.
Wait, what's the first part? So there's the person. You gave me the person.
Yeah, I give you a personality, a person. Exactly.
Okay. So I have
Act
to do
out
that.
the person.
Okay.
Okay, Matt, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Awesome. Okay, Shane, you can. By the way, you are acting the person, but you could use supporting words that are unrelated to whatever you're enacting at the moment. Okay. So you could say words. You cannot give clues outright, but you could use words, and Matt can guess it from that. Okay. Shane, floor is yours.
Oh my God. So I come across as a bit lightheaded, and I might have been in a very, let's say a blue movie, to use age term.
A what movie?
A blue movie.
Blue movie. B movie.
That is.
We're using internet safe words at the moment.
Exactly. So, come across as real ditzy, but actually quite intelligent. I don't know if I can describe who I am. Anyway, I'll give you 4 words. First word.
Okay.
Speak to me.
One.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second word.
Second word. 1 sleep. 1 rest. 1 sleep. 1 1
Okay. Fourth word.
Okay.
Alouette, gentil alouette. Je bois.
French.
15, 14,
Oh,
13, 12, 11, 10, 9.
one blue Frenchman.
One night.
Oh,
All right. Matt, what's your guess? Who's the personality?
That was shocking and embarrassing.
I have no idea. I have no idea. Who? Hit me.
Paris Hilton.
Paris.
Damn, I was not thinking that far back.
Mm-mm.
Damn.
No.
Okay.
I could have
In
done
retrospect,
All right.
I was like
Alright.
Jessica Simpson, maybe, but I'm no. There's no way. Man, you really reach back on this one.
Okay. I think I will. I'll throw a curveball around this time.
Okay.
Okay, Matt. This is your brand.
Okay.
Are you ready, Shane? You ready to go? 3, 2, 1. Your time starts now. Matt, the stage is yours.
Okay.
Old McDonald's, Burger King.
Matt, you made it so easy. You made it so easy for Shane.
Did I fuck up?
So easy. You made it.
Did I fuck up?
It didn't even take him 10 seconds. You gave him exactly what he needed.
There you go. That was just like a little layup pass right there.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I'll be
Yeah,
more creative next time.
I
I'm
thought-
kind of just warming up.
I thought of making noises in my one, but I thought maybe that's my friend. Didn't.
Okay, Shane. Here is let me see. Let me think about this one. Okay. That's your next one. Next prompt is a brand.
Ooh.
Matt, get your freak on. 2 minutes starts now. Shane, floor is yours.
Yes, it's a high-end. Don't know what I can say and what I can't say. Anyway, high-end jewelry that this previous
Hey.
person
Hey,
can't say that.
that's a giveaway. But okay, I'll
Tiffany's.
Damn, I wouldn't have got that on. It's such a range.
Okay.
I think we're
Here's-
I'm
So
saying
yeah, that was
Raid is a silent, how many words kind of game.
yeah, but so the problem with that is how do you act Tiffany? Or how do you act? Oh, okay. No
pretty
words
good.
from now on, guys.
Pretty good.
That's what I should
No
have done.
words from now on. Okay.
Okay.
Who's next? Matt. Okay. Let me think. This game is on the fly, people. I haven't given a lot of thought.
I like it. Very agile. We're an agile.
Yeah, we're
Organization.
agile.
We're-
one.
we're a-
Okay. That's your prompt.
Very. Okay, hold on.
Okay. Ready? Set. No words now.
Okay, 2.
Okay.
First word. First word. Speaking, handshake, agreement, deal, peace.
Peace in our time.
You reached the conclusion.
My job is to distract people. Just by the way.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Agreed. Partnership. Deal. Deal. Second word. Strong. Strong push. Strong push to deal. Push.
That looks like the Hulk.
Strong? Did I get strong right? Okay, strong. Strength. Force. 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 Pushing. Shoving. Second word. shove, push, strength. Fucking, I don't know.
So,
Okay.
Matt, like if he guesses it correctly, you just got to do this. Like,
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like strength,
so the second word is force.
force.
I guess the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. 9, 8, 7, 6,
Uh,
5,
three,
4, 3,
Okay, force.
2,
Yes.
1. Okay. Your guess is it's a brand. Shit. Okay. Shane, you lost this one.
I don't know.
Matt, you can say it. You can say the brand now.
Salesforce. I know.
I thought
really-
this was gonna be like super easy. Like, hey, handshake, money,
Oh, I didn't
force.
see the money.
Boom. There you go.
Yeah, I was really missing the money signal. That would have really driven it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was too locked in on this handshake sitch.
Okay, we're at 1-1, and here's what we're gonna do now. I will enact a brand for both of
Okay.
you. Whoever guesses it first wins Slick or Slop. Are you guys ready? This is the wild card round.
All right. Is it a brand
Okay.
or a person?
It is a brand. All right, I'll start the timer now.
One word.
Two words.
Type, read, book, magazine, newspaper, typing.
Facebook.
Yeah. Read, pray. Pray? Glasses. Reading glasses, typing, writing. Type.
Journal.
Journal. Words. Words. Letters. Letter.
Reading Rainbow.
First word. Air. Planet. Sky. Planet. Sky. Night sky. Type sky. Read sky. Sky news. Sky news. No?
Planet Fitness.
Second word is sky, right?
Oh, you're looking pretty swole.
That's a clue. That's a clue. Not a word.
Typing a book. Writing a love letter. Spinning around. 90s dance move.
Circle back.
Guys are so close. It's so close. It's a brand, guys.
Oh, which
Think.
word is close?
Think.
Facebook.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time's up, guys. It's guess time. I have given you a guess, a very clear one. If you get it, you get it. Very famous brand, by the way. Very famous. And you have used it quite a lot in your life as well. I can tell you that with confidence.
Wait, which clue did you give us? That spinning one. Google. No.
Okay. Shane says Google. Matt, what's your guess?
Facebook.
No. I don't want to end this on a tiebreaker, guys. I need a guess. I'm gonna reduce the timer to 30 seconds. Whoever gets a guess it, or we just end this on a tie.
Well,
I'm gonna give you a guess. People get famous or got famous. Like,
Instagram.
it's almost like a verb at this point.
YouTube.
Where if you have this, like you are at the upper
Charisma.
echelons of society because you're
Confident.
considered to be worthy of
Intellectual.
that stature, huh?
Intellectual. Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay, you're getting there somewhere. Matt, did that ring any bells? Typing, book.
Author.
Amazon? I don't know. I don't know.
Shane, final one. Think, man, think.
That's all I've been doing. That's my problem. Got 2
Okay.
hours of it. New York Times.
New York Times. I said
It's
you
wrong.
used it in the past. It's Wikipedia, guys.
Wikipedia.
Mhm.
Ah, okay. Yes.
Planet,
Sitting
typing.
around. Mhm.
reading.
Oh my god. Okay, the planet. It was a visual clue. I was like, it must include.
The word. Yeah, no, that's not always true. That's why I said it was a visual clue, not the word itself.
Oh, okay. I was like, is it the Mercury like that? Okay. All right.
Well,
Fair
So
enough.
obvious.
no clear winner in this slick or slop. I guess you're both slick and slop. So
We're all
end it-
winners here at Chain
we're all
Reaction.
winners. We all end this on a amicable note and come to the end of yet another Chain Reactions. This week we kept it light, we kept it breezy. This is holidays. It's the season. It's in the air. Hence, we took it light and breezy. We ended on a tie, which we never do on Gamified. But hey, we can all just sit back, relax, have a Diet Coke, have a margarita, have some fun, and enjoy the Wednesday. Treat it like a Sunday, almost. How was it for you guys? Was this a fun one? I think the charades we should really. I really wanted to do a version of Heads Up, but it's really hard to pull off in a virtual environment. But I would love to
Charade's good.
something.
Yeah,
I've
it's hard though.
If you have it back on again, we'll have the tiebreaker.
Yes, definitely. 100%.
Indeed.
Awesome.
Good times
All right,
overall. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Wise words, Matt. Wise words.
All right.
Thank you for everyone who tuned in to this week of Chain Reactions. If you took out time from your holidays to be on the stream to watch us blabble about
And you
all of
question
the
choice.
shit that doesn't make sense all around us, thank you for doing that. Thank you for your word of confidence in all of us as hosts. And enjoy your days, guys. We will see you in 2 weeks. GM, bye-bye.
All right. Take care.